you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Oh boy, do we have a special one today. All the way from Bikini Bottom, the wonderful SpongeBob. Great to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Joe. It's an honor to be on the show.
You're one of the most beloved animated characters of all time. Tell me, how does it feel to be a cultural icon?
Well, Joe, it's definitely a lot of pressure, but I try not to think about it too much. I just focus on making people happy.
That's a great attitude. So let's talk about your body for a minute. You're a square-shaped sponge, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Some people might say that's an unusual body shape. What do you think?
Well, Joe, I think everyone is unique in their own way. For me, being a square is just who I am. I think it's important to embrace our differences and be proud of them.
I see, but what about the ideal male body? Do you think it should be square?
I don't think there's an ideal male body, Joe. Everybody is different, and that's what makes us all special.
Well, I disagree. I think the ideal male body should be muscular and lean, like a fighter's body.
But Joe, not everyone is a fighter. Some people are musicians or artists or scientists. They all have different body types that suit their lifestyles.
I get that, but I'm just saying I think we should all strive to be in peak physical condition.
I understand what you're saying, Joe, but I think there's more to life than just physical fitness. We should focus on being healthy and happy, whatever that looks like for each of us.
You know what, SpongeBob? You're kind of pissing me off.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't mean to upset you.
It's not your fault. It's just you seem so content with being who you are. It's like you don't even care about pushing yourself to be better.
But, Joe, I do push myself. I try to be the best sponge I can be every day. I work hard at my job, I spend time with my friends, and I always try to be there for them when they need me.
I get that, but what about your body? Don't you want to look and feel your best?
But I do feel great, Joe. I'm happy with the way I am.
That's the problem, SpongeBob. You're too damn happy all the time. You don't know what it's like to struggle, to fight, to suffer. You're just a cartoon character living in a fantasy world.
Joe, I know that life can be hard sometimes, but I believe that a positive attitude and a willingness to help others can make all the difference.
You're so naive, SpongeBob. You don't have a grasp of how things work outside of your pineapple.
Maybe I am, Joe, but I think there's something to be said for seeing the world through a childlike sense of wonder and optimism. It helps us appreciate the little things in life and keep things in perspective.
I don't know, man. It just seems like you're not living up to your full potential. You could be so much more than just a cartoon character.
Well, Joe,
Let's talk about the health risks of having a square body. Is there anything specific you need to do to maintain your square shape?
Well, Joe, as you know, I'm a cartoon character, so my body shape is just a part of my design. I don't really have to worry about maintaining it.
Right, but for real people, having a square body could potentially lead to health problems. For example, if your organs are shaped differently, it could affect how they function.
I see what you're saying, Joe, but I think you're overthinking it a bit. My square body is just a cartoon, and it's not meant to be taken too seriously. It's just a fun design choice.
Okay, but let's say someone has a square-shaped rib cage. Could that affect their breathing or their lung capacity?
That's a good question, Joe. I'm not sure about that. I'll have to ask Sandy, my squirrel friend, who's also a scientist.
Sandy Cheeks, of course. I haven't seen her since her performance in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Fun times, Joe!
What about your other friend? You know, the tubby one, lives under a rock or something.
You mean Patrick? He's doing just fine, Joe.
That's right, Patrick. How's he doing on his diet? I know he's had some issues with overeating in the past.
Patrick doesn't have a weight problem, Joe. He's just big-boned.
Sounds like a bunch of excuses, SB. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I'm just genuinely interested in the health risks of living in Bikini Bottom.
Well, it's not exactly the healthiest place in the world, but we try to make the best of it. We eat a lot of seaweed and Krabby Patties, and we stay active by doing things like jellyfishing.
Yeah, I've heard about the Krabby Patties. They're supposed to be pretty good for you, right?
They're the best!
Not nearly as healthy as elk meat, I presume.
But you have to make sure you don't eat too many. It's all about moderation.
Easy for you to say. You're already square. You don't have to worry about getting fat.
Hey, I may be square, but I still have to take care of my health. Just because my body looks a certain way doesn't mean I'm invincible.
You still working for Eugene?
Mr. Krabs, of course!
He seems like a pretty intense guy. Is he Jewish? Jamie, pull that up.